What's going on, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, Joker back again, once again, and today we are talking about the Vault of Ass. Before we get started, a word of warning for those of you who hate different opinions or think I'm just being a hater. Wait a few days for my Stasis Nerf video where I'll be sucking Bungie's dick, and we can have the duality of humanity on display in the comments section. Today it's, but Joker, you're a hater. Tomorrow, it'll be, but Joker, you're a shill. Truly, the comment section is the most enlightened place on the face of the planet. But enough about that, the Vault of Ass is back again, once again, and it has returned with some changes. Missing loot, and everybody's favorite thing in all of Destiny, Cash Shop Unlockables. And you know what? The first thing I think about when it comes to bringing something back is not actually bringing that thing back in its totality and changing it. Changing all the things. Because as we know, nothing, and I mean nothing, is sacred anymore. Now, because every video is somebody's first, but because with something that's 7 years old, I kind of, sort of expect some semblance of baseline understanding. The Vault of Glass was the very first Destiny raid, for as much shit as people give Destiny 1 year one, and boy, oh boy, is it all fucking deserved. The Vault of Glass was a latchkey moment, not just for Destiny, but for gaming. It was an MMO raid-like activity in a first-person shooter with extra step. This was back when Destiny was just considered a first-person shooter with loot, by the way, but long before Bungie decided that Destiny was an MMO without any of the trappings of an MMO, which kinda made Vault of Glass special. Fast forward 7 years and Bungie has unvaulted the Vault of Glass, because, as we all know, making new content is hard.
Too hard for us to do. The tools that we work with are really hard to deal with. It's hard for us to make this much content. It's just hard making content in general.
But they didn't bring the Vault of Glass back in its totality. Bungie had to needle with things that didn't need touch. The main changes were to encounters that were arguably rather boring in the original Vault of Glass. And, as it might surprise some to learn, I'm actually not opposed to changing these encounters. Gasp, shock, horror, lightning crackle, lightning crackle, lightning crackle. I know, right? My issue with the changes to the Vault of Glass are they're not better changes. They don't make the encounters more interesting. They're just change for the sake of change. The main mechanic that Bungie decided to fiddle with like a Catholic priest unsupervised in their congregation's youth group was the Oracles. Previously, the Oracles would spawn, you'd kill them, and then DPS the boss. Now, the Oracles spawn, you have to remember which order they spawn in, and then you can DPS the boss. The common argument is this forces more communication, more teamwork. But does it really? In my experience, and hey, you know what? To be fair, experiences may vary, the entire raid group shuts up while somebody counts down 1, 2, 3, and then everybody melts the boss. This doesn't fix the tedium of the encounter, it merely adds an additional fail state, which potentially draws out a boring and tedious encounter even further than necessary. All while cementing a meta where you don't engage with the encounter, you merely force people to play in a very specific way in order to not have to redo the encounter. And when a video game boils down to what is the least amount of time I can spend here playing this video game because it's boring and I don't want to do it, perhaps some design philosophy needs to be revisited. This can be extrapolated to Atheon, where you have the dilemma of how do you read the order? Who's reading the order? Who fucked up the order? Why are you shooting Atheon left when Atheon right was called? Something that only matters if you're not cheesing the boss fight, so you can circumvent the entire thing and get the loot anyways. Because that's all that really matters. There's also some changes with the Gatekeeper encounter where Bungie wants you to run a decathlon with the shield. However, basically everybody said fuck that, Prometheus Lens goes burr. See, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, the issue isn't that the new challenges and changes make the experience harder, because they don't. Nor do they do anything to close the power gap between Destiny 1 Year 1 and Destiny 2. Nor do they add more teamwork or communication, or any of that other trite nonsense that people keep telling themselves. As it stands now, the new raid mechanics serve as little more than an additional fail state for the players, which necessitates not learning or perfecting or playing the mechanics themselves, but playing in a very cookie-cutter meta-specific way, so you don't have to play the mechanics. Can't do nearly 2 million damage individually while fighting Atheon? Get kicked, because nobody actually wants to do the encounter. That's provided you're just not circumventing the entire process and cheesing Atheon, because you don't have time to waste on somebody not knowing the difference between Atheon right and Atheon left. In my humble opinion, the added fail states of Vault of Glass hurt it more than it helps it. It further boils down the encounters into a single way to play without really alleviating the issues intrinsic to Vault of Glass. Meaning, in my opinion, the changes have ultimately failed in their intended role, while still being boring. Now to clarify once more, because I understand that maybe some people who like the new Vault of Glass, or are in the honeymoon phase, might feel attacked by this opinion. Even though I'm not attacking you, I'm attacking the Vault of Glass. I want to make sure you don't misunderstand me or get me wrong. If you're like, hey Joker, I respect that you're not a fan of these new changes, but right now it's my jam, more power to you. Go forth and prosper, and may the God rules forever be in your favor. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Remember to like, but only if you did. Subscribe for more. Feel free to donate to my Patreon if you're feeling particularly generous. But above all else, stay frosty.